You also had this post that I was like, oh, that's interesting, where you said that you rarely see anyone with chronic anxiety who is not addicted to something.
Yes.
And that there is a tight connection between anxiety and addictive behavior. Can you explain that and help us
Sure.
understand that?
Sure. So I'm going to mention the E word here, and I hope you don't shut off. But
Ego? I won't even understand it. Can you
well,
explain it
we'll
without
just
the ego? What's it?
your ego is kind of like an overprotective mother, right?
Okay.
Like it doesn't want you to go and play on the swings because you might fall off. It doesn't want you to talk in front of people because when you did that when you were in grade 6, people laughed at you and you
Is
never
the
wanted.
ego the same thing as the alarm?
It's related to it through the amygdala as
See,
well.
I'm already confused.
Yeah, I know. So I'm not going to get into too much neuroscience, but basically
Okay.
your ego is hooked into the amygdala, and your amygdala says, "We're never doing that again because that hurt us." Whatever it was, and the amygdala never forgets. So it's basically getting into that getting bypassing that ego because the ego is so overprotective that it will not let you go back into your old alarm
So
because
the
it
ego is thinking.
yeah, more or less. Yeah, it is something that it talks to us with thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but let's talk about the connection between anxiety
Okay.
and addiction.
Okay. So basically, we need something to help us through this alarm.
Wait a
We,
minute. I think I just got it. Hold
okay,
on.
good.
Let me
Okay.
let me see if
Okay.
this is the answer. You ready? Is addiction typically somebody's coping mechanism for the alarm? So, for example, you reach for alcohol because it drowns out the alarm. You reach for porn or drugs or stress or whatever because
Overwork,
it
achievement. Yes.
got it. Okay, I got it. So, if somebody is struggling with addictive behavior, whether it is alcohol or cigarettes or vaping or it is any of that stuff, you are more than likely not addressing the root issue, which is the anxiety and alarm that's continuing to go off in the background.
Yeah. And on top of that,
Wow.
basically, the ego is very powerful. It doesn't want to let you go back into that. So the only way that you can feel love, connection, whatever, is alcohol, is codeine, is cocaine, whatever you're addicted to.
So
So,
wait, but you feel the
yeah,
connection to the alcohol or the codeine. That's what you're saying. So this is why I get confused with the ego because I'm
sure,
like, I don't give a shit about the ego. Let's
sure,
talk like the alarm. And then what makes sense to me is that addiction mutes the alarm
totally.
and that you become bonded and connected to, for me it was stress, for my husband it was a daily weed habit,
Okay.
like for what that and that addiction is what's muting the alarm. This
Yeah,
is really cool. So
yeah.
where does mindset come in? Because you there is so much out there about mindset and mental wellness, and it's interesting because this conversation with you makes me desperate for a different word than mental health. Because
Sure.
even the word mental health makes me go neck up, makes me
Exactly.
think thoughts, makes me go to just what's going on in my mind. And what you've taught me today is a game changer because what you've taught us all is that no, 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 no. All mental health issues start in the body and they start with this kind of reaction that happens in your body to stored trauma or to a threat or to uncertainty. And then that signals our minds, and our minds then start spinning thoughts. And if we don't address this alarm system in our body, which has a purpose, which is there to protect us, which is supposed to agitate you, but we exacerbate it. We try to mute it. If we don't learn how to turn inward and heal all of this in our body and turn toward this alarm and soothe ourselves and love ourselves and give ourselves the reassurance and the support or whatever it is that we didn't get in childhood or what we need in that moment, that is actually the beginning of all healing. That's what I'm getting from you.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. So I would
Why do we
love to.
call it mental health then? Like, what isn't there? Can we come up with a different word that would actually signal you that when you're struggling with depression or you're struggling with anxiety or you're struggling with any like addiction issues, that it's not a mental health issue? It is a body something. Like, I don't even know how to describe this
Well, it's
because
an
it's the
entire
exact
system.
opposite of the way that we think about things right
Yes,
now.
it is the opposite. And I love, to come up with a better term than body set, but I think that's
Body
kind of
set?
what it
What is
is.
that? That feels like weightlifting.
Well, no, well, it's like mindset, body set. Like
Oh,
what is the
mindset.
place
Well, I
in your
didn't think about
body?
that.
Can you regulate your body? Because if you regulate your body, your mind will get regulated. If you regulate your mind, your body might get regulated. So what I'm saying is that if you go in through the body, your body's much more likely to relax your mind than your mind is to relax your body. Because you can say, hey, relax, hey,
Oh,
calm
whoa,
down.
whoa, whoa. Did you guys hear that? That was a wake up call for me right there. You were just dropping freaking knowledge, Russ. Okay, hold on. I'm going to state this again. And now I have menopause brain, and so I've just forgotten what I said. You said something like your body, if you regulate your body, it will
Yeah.
regulate your mind. But if
It's
you
much more
regulate
effective.
your mind right, you say it because you're the one who said it.
Yeah, it's much more effective to regulate your body first, which will automatically regulate your mind, than to try and regulate your mind to regulate your body. Because your mind lies to you all the time. Your body never can.
Is this why exercising is such an effective thing to do when it
Partly,
comes to anxiety and focus?
partly, but there's something beyond exercise. There's something within the somatosensory cortex, or the part of the brain that controls our movement and our sensation. When we activate that, we start getting into the sense of the body and out of the rumination of the mind.
And
So
so by
that's one of
activating that, is that what you're saying? You can activate that part by doing the exercises you've already talked about in terms of locating where the alarm is and then finding a neutral part in
yeah,
your body, breathing into it.
and
Do you
just
all?
movement. Just that's why yoga is so effective because it brings you into your body. Anxiety at its root is really a mind-body disconnect, right? We go up into our heads and we stay in our heads because we don't want to go down in our body because that's where the pain is. So we don't want to go into feeling town down in our body. We want to stay up in our thoughts. And that's another addiction. So we get addicted to worry. And that's why it's so hard to treat anxiety just by trying to fix thoughts because we're addicted to thinking already. We don't need any more thinking. We need a lot more feeling, but we don't want to feel because that's where the frickin' pain is.
Wow. So I've gotten a couple huge things
Okay?
from this. That first of all anxiety results from a separation
Of some kind.
anxiety that has some kind of separation experience or feeling separate from other in
And
childhood
self. And self.
and self. But what you just said too was really interesting, which is our response to that alarm or that feeling of being separate from self or separate from others or attacked by others or whatever, is that we actually do separate from ourselves. Anxiety and the alarm system, the way that most of us respond to it is to separate from our bodies, go up in our heads. And the way to quiet the alarm and ultimately turn it off is to come back and join in with yourself and come back to where the alarm is sounding off in your body and then find a neutral or safe space in your body where you can draw your attention and breathe into back and forth and back and forth. And that when you quiet the alarm and when you go toward it and soothe your own body, that is the step that you need to take if you want to heal this. And that the thinking is part of the toolkit. Like, what would you recommend as some sentence that we could say if we're trying the tools, we go into our body, we're soothing ourselves? Is there something that people could say or repeat to themselves that you find is effective with the more neck down approach?
Absolutely. So
What
it's
do you say?
basically this. am I safe in this moment? Am I safe in this moment? I know I've got a presentation to do on Friday. I know I've got a big tax bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. My mom is sick. But am I safe in this moment?
Why a question? Because I like saying I am safe.
You could do
I
it both. You
am
could do it both
okay.
ways. I find that people with anxiety, though, this is the thing about saying I love you in the mirror, is that people don't allow that in. The reason why you're anxious in the first place is because you block love. So when you say I
Whoa,
love you,
whoa, 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 whoa. The
yeah,
reason why you're anxious is because you block love?
for yourself, yes.
What?
You're separated from yourself. That's exactly what it comes down to. That's what anxiety or alarm really is. It's a separation. And this is what I do. This is my little, we didn't get into my little intuitive thing here,
We're
but
going to in a minute. Hold on.
okay.
We save the best for last, but hold on. Okay. Keep talking about the fact that when you have this alarm going off,
Yeah.
you are blocking, like, just say it again.
Well,
I'm
the child
processing,
feels,
hyper processing now. I'm just like, oh my God, I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. That literally your alarm is asking for love and reinsurance.
absolutely.
And when you go into your head, you block yourself from receiving it.
Yes.
When you
And
go
block
into your
that child.
body and you breathe into the alarm and soothe yourself, you are actually giving yourself love.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And a lot of people with anxiety just they're uncomfortable with love in the first place. I'll give you a very quick example from my own life. So my dad, before I was 10 years old, was this wonderful guy. Like he was so connected to me and nurturing, taught me how to hit a ball, play chess, all this kind of stuff. Very, very connected to him. And I loved him greatly. And then as I got to be a young teen and his schizophrenia got worse and worse and worse, and he became suicidal and a bunch of other things, I withdrew from him because to see him in horrible depression was just too painful for me. So I blocked my love for him because it was just too painful to feel it. And that you can't block love from a parent without blocking love on some level to everyone. So there's a reason why I've been married 3 times. So this is one of the things. So when you find the blocks that you have to loving yourself, this is how you heal. And this is basically my little intuitive gift is I can tell people where their blocks are to loving themselves. And then when you remove those blocks, the anxiety, the alarm just kind of fades away. So this is really going at the root cause protocol as opposed to just trying to make you think better.
Wow. So how do you help people find that place where they've blocked love?
Well, I go through their body, like what I believe, the short version of what I believe happens to you is as a child, you experience an overwhelming stress. It's too much for your conscious mind to handle, so you stuff it down. Freud would call it repression. You stuff it into the unconscious. And the body keeps the score, just like Bessel van der Kolk says. So because the body is a representation of the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind is where these old, damaging programs are stored, they'll show up in the body. So I will find in your body where you feel that alarm and reverse engineer it to get into the same room with those unconscious programs, and then I can change them.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I think my biggest takeaway, and I keep saying this because clearly every 10 minutes I have a life-changing takeaway from this conversation, but my biggest takeaway is the connection between the alarm that goes off and the love that you're not allowing yourself to receive.
Totally.
And that it's beautiful to think that loving yourself is the way you cure anxiety. And what a beautiful thing. And it reminds me of something pretty amazing that my son Oakley shared with me. I said to him the other day, I was like, dude, one of the things I love about you is that you, more than almost anybody I have ever met, are just so comfortable with yourself. Like you really seem to like yourself. And now, I should preface this by saying that, this is a kid that really struggled. 3 different schools before he was done with 8th grade, severe dyslexia, got so severely bullied at a camp that we had to pull him out of it. And the director wrote a long letter apologizing for everything. This kid has been through the ringer. Mm. And he said to me, well, Mom, he said, I realized and he said, this happened during quarantine. During quarantine, when I got to hang out with you and dad and, my two older sisters, all four people who love me, I just started to realize just because other people pick on me or hate me doesn't mean I have to hate myself. Like I could actually just like myself. Like I could really just allow myself to love myself. And I got to be honest with you, from that moment, I can really almost pinpoint that during the pandemic, like this kid's chronic anxiety was gone. He developed this very positive attitude, and it all began from this insight around, hey, if the world is not giving me the acceptance and the love that we all are seeking, maybe I can just give it to myself.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I never thought about meeting the alarm of anxiety with acts of self-love.
Yeah. And that's, it's counterintuitive on some level, because when you're anxious, you don't feel loving. Basically your social engagement system is shut off. You're in survival mode. So when you're in survival mode and survival physiology, you go into the emotional part of your brain, which is, evolutionarily programmed to look for threat. And if there's no threat in your environment, if you're just lying there in bed with the sheets up to your neck, you will find threat because you can make it with your big prefrontal cortex. You can make worries.
Well, not anymore, because we now know that the second you feel the alarm go off, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you do not go upstairs, you go downstairs.
Yep.
You go downstairs.
Yep.
Now, so I love to leave people in action. Obviously, everybody. There will be links not only to Russ's book, Anxiety RX. There will be links to his social media accounts. You will find all kinds of resources in the show notes. But I want to leave people in action.
Sure.
So, this is one of those incredible conversations that really changes how somebody thinks about a massively overwhelming topic like anxiety and mental health. Now what I want to do is leave people in action with one simple new practice or habit that I want everyone to try every day for the next 7 days. And what is the exercise that you want each one of us to practice for the next 7 days so that we can start to use the tools that you have been researching and changing lives with? What's the one thing you want us to do?
Can I do 2?
Yes.
Ones?
As long as it doesn't involve the ego.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, okay. Well, that's it. That's the end of that. All right. So the first thing that I would say is what I said earlier. Am I safe in this moment? Or I am safe in this moment? Because this moment is all we ever have, right? The thing about anxiety is it always projects you into the future. So if you bring yourself back to the moment, and this has worked for me. It saved my ass a number of times in the middle of the night when all my defenses are down and I think the world is horrible.
Okay.
I am safe in this moment. I am safe, and really feel it too. Like I am safe in this moment.
Is there anything we should do with our hands or with do you want us to close our eyes? Do you want us to?
You can do the high five your heart if you want.
Okay, which is putting your heart right in the center of your chest. Take a deep breath. I'm safe.
If you
I'm
find,
safe.
yeah.
Okay. What else could you do?
If you find your alarm, if you know where your alarm is, track the alarm. When you feel anxious, go into your body and say, where am I feeling this? Is this in my belly? Is this in my chest? Is it in my throat? Put your hand over the place where you feel your alarm.
Okay.
And breathe into that.
Okay.
There is a little thing too that I've kind of taken from Andrew Huberman about the physiological sigh. Physiological sigh is something that the humans do, and animals do it too, to calm themselves. And it's usually one quick sniff through your nose, and then another one, and then a long, slow breath out through your mouth. Now, with my anxiety people, I modify that. So basically, this is the process that I do when I get into alarm. Is I take 3 breaths through my nose really quickly. At the top, I hold it for about 3 to 5 seconds, which shows me that I'm in actually control of my breath. My breath isn't controlling me. Then I close my teeth and I breathe out through my teeth and make a hissing sound like
All right, I'm going to try this. Ready?
And as I do that, I imagine a tire that's overinflated just deflating in front of me. That's my mental image.
All right, let me try this. Hold on a second. We're going to all do, I think we should do this one. We're going to do two. So everybody, number one is one time a day, if you notice an alarm in your body, and that could be tension, it could be frustration, it could be anger, it could be anxiety, it could be that worry's starting to grip you. I want you to find where that alarm is. I want you to put your hand where the alarm is, and I want you to breathe into it, okay? And then you can add, I'm safe in this moment. So that's number one that you're going to practice. Anytime you feel the gripping, the tension, the frustration, the overwhelm, the alarm is signaling. Remember, that's an alarm asking for love.
Yep.
And you're the one that is going to provide the love and reassurance that you need. So that's number one. The second one is, let's try this breathing thing. Okay, and if you want to see it, go to our YouTube channel, because we have video episodes uncut of these podcast interviews that are amazing, because they're a lot longer and they're behind the scenes. But you should see Russ's face when he does it. He looks like he's about to rage on somebody, and he's actually deflating like a tire and taking control of things. And now I'm going to look completely ridiculous as I breathe in 3 times, and then I clench my teeth and hiss out like a tire. Ready?
Okay, let me do it first
Okay.
again, because there's a few parts to it. So the first thing is 3 breaths in through your nose. So quickly. And then at the top of that, you hold your breath for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then you close your teeth. And as you exhale, slowly exhale, you make a hissing sound. And as you make that hissing sound, you imagine a tire deflating.
Okay, I'm going to do this. You ready?
Ready?
Okay.
And I
Whoa.
want you to elongate that. So the whole thing about the physiological sigh is that you're creating a long exhale. That's what really relaxes us, is the long exhale. So when people say take a deep breath, really what you need to do is just take a long exhale. So again, it's like 3 breaths in, hold, and then.
I'm going to try it again. See if I can
So
go
really
longer.
fill your lungs up, Mel. Like
Okay.
really fill them up.
Okay, here we go. Wow. What's interesting about that is it requires so much focus that you can't really think about anything else.
Totally. That's one of the other things that it takes you off your worries. Exactly.
And you do feel this sort of relaxing and collapsing feeling inside you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you
Okay.
relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Like there's stuff to it. I mean, I'll make like a YouTube video about this or whatever, or I'll put it on my Instagram.
Awesome.
But basically, it's really about expanding your lungs, because when you expand your lungs, you send a message up to your brain that you're okay. Because when you get stressed, the stress starts breathing you. You aren't breathing for yourself. The stress will start breathing you. So it's really important that you do the 3 breaths in, hold, and then breathe out with it, and really elongate that exhale. So the more breath you take in with the sniffs, the easier it is to have that nice long exhale.
Dr. Kennedy in the house, people. So let's go back to the basics. Anxiety 101.
All anxiety is separation anxiety.
What does that mean?
The reason why you're anxious in the first place is because you block love. So when you say I love you,
Whoa. The
Yeah.
reason why you're anxious is because you block love?
for yourself, yes.
What? I just had a huge breakthrough here. Holy
Good.
shit, Russ.